What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure to go down and subscribe. In the last video, I realized that we took this bike on a ride, but I never even introduced it to the channel, really. Last week was kind of like the introduction video, but I didn't go into any details or anything. So in today's video, I want to introduce one of the BSA Golden Flashes that we have in the collection. This is a 1953 BSA Golden Flash. This is a 650 parallel twin from a very long time ago. Like I said, 1953. This thing is aging on what? Getting close to 60 some years of age or something like that. Close to 60, I believe, or just 60 this year, actually. One of the main things with these earlier BSAs is you can see here that this is a pre-unit construction build, which means that the engine and the gearbox are separated from each other. Per-unit bikes are usually more sought after, from my understanding. They usually carry a price premium, also from my understanding. But they're just the earlier versions of the motorcycles. We've owned this bike for about 7 or 10 years at this point. We haven't done anything to it. The bags, the extra turn signals, that stuff is not done by us. Obviously, they did not have indicators in the 50s. Those did not exist on the bike. The previous owner, I guess, wanted it to be more dailyable, usable, whatever it is, and he put those on, as well as these bags he put on. The only thing that we've done to the bike is the bike used to have a big American handlebar. We swapped it for a more European handlebar, which is a little more flat, a little more sleek, and there was a windscreen on it, which we also took out. It's an old British bike, so that means that it actually has the gear selector and the brake on the opposite side of an American bike. So if we come over to the right side here, this is actually the gear selector. Usually on American bikes it'd be on the other side over there, and this would be a rear brake. Another thing to keep in mind is one is up and then the rest of the gears are down. In an American bike, one would be down and the rest would be up. So like I said, we changed the handlebar out, and the only maintenance item we've done is an oil change as of recently. The motorcycle, let's just say the oil was pretty old, grimy, and it needed to be changed out. The bike's running really nicely. We'll take it out for a ride just really quickly here in a second. There are two things that this bike needs, other than a just thorough cleanup. It needs these seals replaced. These are made from cork, and they have cork gaskets inside, and they leak. One side's fine, that side's fine, but the other side does actually leak a little bit, and it drips gasoline. Not the biggest deal in the world. We actually already have the replacements for it. It literally takes 5 seconds to replace. The other thing is the clutch plates need to be replaced. Occasionally in the bike, the clutch does like to slip a little bit, and you can tell that it needs a little bit of a tune-up. That's also not too hard, and something that we'll get to once we have a couple of the other bikes in the garage kind of finished up. It's on the back burner right now because this bike is fully registered and fully rideable, and there's nothing wrong with it, and it just needs a little bit of maintenance at some point further down the line. With that being said, the gas tank is actually empty, and I think this would be an appropriate time to start it up, show you guys the startup on it, because it's a little different from a modern day bike. All the bikes for the most part have a story behind them as to why we bought them, how we bought them. As far as why we bought this bike, my dad has always had BSAs, and about 5 to 10 years ago, 7 to 10 years ago, something like that, a while back, before I was really into these things, he decided he wanted another BSA because he had sold one of his, and I think he only had one at that moment in time, which is the other one that we have in the garage. This was an eBay bid, and it got delivered to our house. There's not really a story behind it that way. It's not something we found and searched for and bought or anything like that. He just bought it off of eBay because he wanted to find another BSA, or he just wanted another BSA in the collection. The Golden Flash is a twin, and it's kind of like the BSA of the time, other than the Gold Star. The Gold Star is like the BSA of BSAs, and this would sit right under the Gold Star. The BSA Golden Star is a single, the Golden Flash is a twin. But these are somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000, and those are anywhere between $20,000 and $40,000. So there's definitely a big difference. Obviously the Gold Star has a huge racing pedigree for BSA. But I mean, it's still a really good looking motorcycle, even though it's not the high-end racing model. Let's put a little gas into it and start it up for you guys. I don't want to put too much because I know it's just going to immediately start leaking from here. As you can see, my finger is already covered with gasoline, and you can see that active drip right there. I'm gonna come and walk you through the procedure. I'll show you that up real close. Single carb. This is a little tickle button which forces fuel into it. So I'm just gonna press it 1, 2, 3 times. Don't want to flood it either. Choke, you want to turn on, and then we just give it a kick. Okay, got it. Let it run. Choked up for a second. I'll turn the choke off. There we go. Engine's all fired up. I'm gonna let it warm up, and then we're gonna take it out on a little ride. This thing is so much fun. It's like a completely different experience from everything that you would expect. That exhaust clip at the end most likely didn't sound the greatest. Because the bike was dying out. I'm gonna turn this off though so you can hear me. I think I talked about it in the last video. The kill switch only turns off half the bike, which it's supposed to kill all of it, but it's not grounding somewhere properly, so it only shuts down half, and then you gotta just jam the throttle and then turn off. There's no key ignition, anything like that in these bikes. But that's the story kind of behind the BSA, what this bike is, kind of why we even have it in the first place. A little exhaust clip, giving you a little taste of what it's like to ride one of these things. And that's all I have for this video. If you guys enjoy, leave me a like, subscribe to the channel. Want to see more content on this or all the other motorcycles in the channel, make sure to stay tuned. There will be more videos on the bikes that we have in our collection because I haven't gone through all of them, so stay tuned for that. Here's a playlist for the bikes that we have, our newest pickup as of last week. But that's all I have for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.